Saturday of the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux for 2022. This is the away day meeting away from the Benelux itself, a trip to northeastern Spain, to Catalunya, to the circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, no less. And, well, storms have been in the forecast for the last couple of days, actually. And Graham Goodwin of dailysportscar.com joining me, Johnny Palmer. That sky in the background looks a little threatening, I have to say.
Yeah, it's about now if we're going to get the storms. They're coming our way. You can see it's a mighty breeze already. 28 degrees in the air, 50 degrees at track level. And walking across here to our commentary point, Johnny, I can well believe that. It's going to be a steamy 30 minutes plus one lap for these 20 runners.
28 degrees Celsius currently in the air. It's about 50 degrees at track level, and the humidity well into the 60% or thereabouts. So, yeah, it is sweltering. And that's just if you're in the grandstand watching. Imagine being in several layers of fireproof race suit and then installed in an oven, which is a Porsche Cup car. Yes, the engine is behind you, so all the heat dissipating out the back of the car and nowhere near the cockpit. But nevertheless, it is a very, very warm environment. And yeah, that sky almost black in the distance behind the famous scoring tower here at Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. If you weren't with us earlier on, where on earth were you? At 9:40 this morning local. You missed Guilain Cordial's first win of the season. His best result prior to that had been at Assen. However, one man incurring the wrath of the stewards, Xavier Marson, the guy that you've just seen in the black 28, he went for a move that wasn't really on for third position to get by Rick Kuhn with a lap and a half to spare. In the end, the number 9 Porsche to the left of your shot currently was pitched into a spin. That severely delayed the 18-year-old from the Netherlands, and eventually Rick coming home much further down in 6th position. The starting grid, though, for the second race of the weekend, taken from second fastest qualifying times, Guilain Cordial to start from pole alongside Rick Kuhn, and then it's Xavier Marson and the car driven by Glenn van Parijs, who will start from 4th. He's really looking for a race win in this. Then Sam de Jonge, Jan Larijsen comes next in the 54 car. Then a 3 AM machines, 2 from Duvo Racing, Sébastien Lejeune, who will start from pole position in that subcategory, and Giovanni Scamardi, having made the move from an alternative one-make championship to Porsches for the remainder of the season. Papora Motorsport, the local crew from Vic, just up the road, run Jaume Font, and he took a AM class victory last time out, completing the top 10 on the grid, Lucas von Eindhoven. Then it is Nicola van Dierendonk returning as a guest entry, Steen Loetta, Michel Haverens, just 19 years old, Tom Bonen next in the Pro-Am category, joined by Didier Gloria. Then it's Horst Felix Felbermayr, the youngest driver on the grid, 17 years old. Sven van Laren, who had a really entertaining race with a couple of pros behind him earlier this morning. Luc van der Feesten, Dominic Bastian at the grand old age of 76 years old, and finally Jeroen Kreeft will be the final driver on the grid. Really good stories front to back, frankly, as to how drivers have ended up on this grid, as the Benelux Championship, incorporating the Netherlands, Belgium and Luxembourg as its base countries, but by no means restricting driving talent from only those places. But it's really fascinating. The championship is growing, set to be even stronger in 2023, and 20 cars will really deliver a fascinating race, whether we get the weather or not, Graham.
Absolutely, and it was very much like that this morning. What we're going to see in the next half an hour plus little is where the picture in this championship is going to be coming into the final weekend at Hockenheim. Who is going to be second place in this championship? Is it going to be the, to this point, prime contender for that, Glenn van Parijs, or is it going to be Guilain Cordial on fine form and drove a near perfect race this morning? If he has a good day, rather an even better day, and Van Parijs has a bad one, he could just end up here pipping the title rival for second place coming into Hockenheim for the final 2 races of the season.
I know a few of you were asking on the chat that accompanies our live stream, where's Harry King? He's leading the championship. He's taken 7 out of 8 wins. He is racing this weekend, but he's busy with the Mobil 1 Super Cup at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. So, in fact, staying with a typical track associated with this championship. It's just that this championship is in Barcelona this weekend. So, Harry getting obviously, you know, massive plaudits wherever he takes a race car, and it tends to be a Carrera Cup car these days. That's Harry's car being driven by Rick Kuhn, which is an interesting dynamic within Revs Motorsport. But yes, Harry King busy as that meeting which supports the Belgian Grand Prix. This Barcelona track has had a Grand Prix this year. That was back in May, but again, fabulous for these drivers to have track knowledge of yet another Grade 1 circuit, something that is delivered by the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. And for the second time today, it's going to be a 30-minute race, plus the extra lap. The lights go out now, and Rick Kuhn has got away, but not quite as well as the winner from earlier on today, Guilain Cordeel, who swoops across the nose. Look at Xavier Masson wasting no time at all in the back 28 as well. Sam de Jonge to the inside line in the red treble 7, and Glenn van Parijs is trying to slot the eye of the needle between those two cars ahead of him, almost pushing Masson on, and Rick Kuhn is edged out on the right hand side towards the gravel. The young man did incredibly well not to end up fully in the kitty litter there, but the Revs Motorsport car is losing places. Hand over fist, Graham.
Absolutely. Van Parijs elbowed his way through there. Now looking up the inside of Xavier Masson, who's got the 78 car recovering after an early moment. Van Parijs up to second place by turn 3.
So the 78, driven by Michael Haverens, had a really nice chat with him in between the two races. Looking forward to getting into some more Porsche races perhaps next year. Nose to tail, Kuhn to the back of de Jonge, and Haverens is off the track this time. So he'd recovered from his initial moment. Now, though, in the gravel, and that might mean we have to go either local, or certainly local caution, possibly full track caution with a safety car. We'll wait to see, as Sam de Jonge in the treble 7 car finished well up in the field, 4th earlier on today. And the 30-year-old from Belgium under massive pressure as Rick Kuhn tries to recover from a sticky start. Glenn van Parijs to the inside line, and he gets the race lead. That is on the earlier race winner, Cordeel. Now, Cordeel will come fighting back on the inside line, but van Parijs has started like a man possessed here. Oh, they're both door handle to door handle. Look at Masson. Masson to the inside line now at turn 11, trying to get through. Somehow van Parijs unravelled himself from what would have been a key moment in the race there, and will still lead into the chicane just. Well,
going to be interesting to see how race control saw that little tussle. There was spirited defence and attack from both of those drivers. Did van Parijs deal how can we put this, the death blow in that exchange?
But this race is on fire already, isn't it? Way more intense than the earlier event today and that was pretty busy itself. Now we've got the safety car out, and that will be for Michael Haverens, who's in the gravel in somewhere in the first sector, as far as I read that. So the safety car has been deployed. Did it pick up the race leader is the next question, Glenn van Parijs. It will be tucked around possibly turn 4, and Glenn van Parijs will come round to see that car in front with the amber lights flashing. To be honest, I need that moment of calm because this has started like a house on fire. So the replay of the start shows us Cordeel got away really well. Masson, though, from the 3rd position, also away like a scalded cat. And behind him, Glenn van Parijs, realising that he wanted to get ahead of the double champion as quickly as possible. To the outside line, van Parijs and Rick Kuhn will then go door handle to door handle. Kuhn, in a sense, edged out of that battle, which lost him time. And there was the spin for Haverens, which resulted in him being delayed initially, and then he was in the gravel after that. So Kuhn in the white and teal car, Graham.
Right now, what happened there was van Parijs actually just went over the curbs to the outside, just lost the rear end and then clattered the side of Kuhn's car. That was the contact. It was a momentary loss of control of the rear end of the car by the man that now leads the race. This is the side-to-side moment, and it was that second impact that had me questioning whether or not there might be a question being asked in race control about intent of contact.
They got well and truly tangled up with one another, whosever fault that may have been. And Xavier Masson, ever the wily fox, because he's spent many seasons racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux, was there to certainly take one place and very nearly the race lead. He did get ahead of Cordeel. There is the safety car, now waiting to pick up race leader Glenn van Parijs. This shouldn't be a lengthy safety car because they're already on the scene to recover Michael Haverens' car.
Absolutely. So full lap under safety car rules, but with no car ahead of this field. Doesn't mean the field has to close up terribly much, of course. Just one racing lap under the wheels of the cars. We saw an attempted recovery, didn't we, by this car? So I wonder whether or not perhaps the steering arm had broken and pitched him back off at the next turn.
Yeah.
So that's further up the track than the incident happened. I have a feeling that in that initial incident was a breakage somewhere on the number 78 car. That's sad news for the Belgian racing team, Michael Havrans.
Yeah, but Havrans, 19 years old. I spoke to him during the break between the two races, and this potentially is just the start for him in a Carrera Cup career, and already looking for options, well, for the rest of the year, because he's just in as an invitational drive right now. He did compete at Assen, though, for the previous two races 7 and 8 of the season.
They could barely have a better mentor than Mark Goossens.
Indeed.
And Mark, very enthusiastic when talking about the prospects of this young man moving forward. It's a great backstory to Michael Havrans.
The adjusted points, by the way, once you add together the points scored in race 1 here at Barcelona, Harry King scores nothing because he's not with us this weekend, instead at Spa. Glenn van Parijs scored 21 in total. That was with the pole position and a second place finish in the race, which takes him to 171. So it's 201 playing 171, a gap of 30 points therefore, and a further 20 back to Guylain Cordeal, race winner in the first event today. So 50 points is the span, King to Van Parijs to Cordeal, and Sam de Jonge a bit more distant on 96 points in 4th position. As far as Pro-Am is concerned, well, Jan Rijssen went the right way about it in the Q1 track racing prepared car, because he scored maximum points, fastest lap within the category, pole position as the safety car lights are now out, so he got the full 27, and he got pole for this race as well, so already on to 221. Didier Gloria
can clinch it today, I think.
Okay, within this race, yeah. So Jon in the 54 car, not yet leading the class here, because those honours in the hands of Frenchman Sébastien Lajou, as the race leader is backing absolutely everybody up. This is his right, Glenn van Parijs. Now he hits the loud pedal as they come out of the final corner and back onto the start-finish straight. Xavier Massa right there, tucked in behind for Team PGZ by Red Hat Racing. Then the only Team GP Elite car on the grid, Guylain Cordeal, after his biggest trophy of the day, gifted to him this morning for the race win. Rick Kuhn looking to the inside line into the first corner, but there was no opportunity to slither up the inside there. Sam de Jonge comes next in the 5th place treble 7.
Interesting moment. Xavier Massa, not an easy man to beat, as everybody found out this morning. And he's going to be looking for potentially his first win of the season here, if he can get onto terms with the race leader. But for Guylain Cordeal, well, this is a season-defining 25 minutes or so. If he can win this race, then he could still be very much in some title contention coming into the Hockenheim weekend. If he has a bad time here, he's effectively out of it. Yeah,
and well, I'm not sure whether he's being that kind of brutal with himself. He realises, again, this is to some degree a learning year, although it is his 2nd year in the championship. So it's been tough for everybody else, if you're not Harry King, really, to pick up the pieces when Harry has an off day. But that's a very, very rare event. And the best place to score is this weekend when Harry's not even here. And Glenn van Parijs wants to get his championship back up and moving solidly. To the inside line there is the 53 car, which dives to the inside. And this is all for the mid-places. So 53 being driven by Nicolas van Dierendonck. And also in that gaggle, Tom Bonen and Giovanni Scamadi as well, the Duvo Racing entry.
Yeah, the 48 car almost made it through, was finally toughed out of that position, but saw the gap appear as everybody just jostled for positions. Nearly made it through, not quite done. Lead 2, Johnny, beginning to edge away here, and if anything, the leader edging away from Xavier Masson too.
Yeah, we saw this happen in reverse earlier today when Glenn van Parijs actually got the better run off the line compared to, or rather, sorry, Cordeal got the better start from van Parijs, and Cordeal extended the gap to about 1.5 seconds, but then van Parijs reeled him in. Now it's a question as whether Glenn can open the gap on Xavier Masson this time around. Good dicing there as well, as applying the pressure is Tom Bonen from the Pro-Am category with Giovanni Scamardi. New to Porsches. I was incorrectly earlier on today saying he's brand new to racing. He had actually done some one-make BMW events previously, but has departed that championship in favour of Porsches, which is always something we like to see. Ditching another German brand to go with Porsche instead. And he's having fun out there, Giovanni Scamardi, the very Italian-sounding Belgian.
Drama is coming the way of the race leader. It's going to be a 5-second penalty for causing that collision with Guilain Cordeel. So whilst that car, the 15 car, is ahead on track at the moment, you've got to look at where that leaves him in terms of the time it's going to be lost. Right now, if the checkered flag came out, he would finish in 9th position. So he's got to get his head down there. It's confirmation on track, on screen. Car 15 receives a 5-second penalty for causing that collision we described earlier, Johnny, that cost Guilain Cordeel first or second place.
Yeah, there isn't actually another car number mentioned in the message, but we assume it is the number 9 car, or a number 2 car rather.
There was a message that said it was that incident under
being looked at. Fine.
Yes.
Okay, so Glenn Van Porijs and Guilain Cordeel, and Cordeel given the benefit of the doubt. 5 seconds in race. That's not going to be added just yet. So the scoring tower on the left of your picture will still show their road position. It'll be added at the end, and Glenn Van Porijs now has the best part of 20 minutes plus a lap to try and build the gap on ideally Maassen behind, but certainly Guilain Cordeel, because Cordeel is the bigger threat in the championship. As we hit race 10 of the season, just 2 more to go after this at Hockenheim, where there are a further 54 points on offer, just like this weekend. Here's the battle for 5th, and these two are going hard at it, and also just ahead of them, look, because Rick Kuhn to the outside line of Cordeel now. That's an awkward spot unless he can go as wide as possible, and that will deliver him into the apex in the very next corner. But no, Rick Kuhn can't make that work. De Jonge is still just about ahead of Jon Lariessen. But Lariessen turning the screw, as he did in the earlier race versus Sam De Jonge. They finished 4th and 5th in the favour of De Jonge in front.
Beginning to ask myself the question whether or not Cordeel is maybe driving around a problem, because he's certainly not at the kind of pace that we saw in this morning's race. Xavier Maassen pulling away from the car that, to be blunt, dominated with Glenn Van Porijs the morning's race. Up the inside this time from... Oh, there's another hit.
That was Rick Kuhn fully locked up. He went for it, but had to anticipate, I suppose, that Guilain Cordeel was going to turn in. Had to turn in at turn 10 at one point. Now, in the old days at turn 10, that was very much on, but it's a much quicker approach these days. And a big old biff in the corner of Cordeel's car might have put him out of the race. The hazard lights automatically coming on because of the extent of the collision. These two guys will benefit because all of a sudden, in the red treble 7, the Red Devil of Sam De Jonge, he's up to 3rd, and Jan Lariessen, 4th place, leading Pro-Am.
Yeah, full course yellow is out, shown briefly, but then disappears. I wonder if he's got the car going again. I suspect he probably has.
Lariessen to the inside of De Jonge. There was just about a Carrera Cup's width there to play with, but De Jonge was able to defend. More action for this is Scamardi, who will spin in the 48 car. And very nearly contact there for Tom Bonen, I think that was. Yeah, he's had to take avoiding action. And Bonen, I think, in the 21 car, goes off into the gravel. This was Rick Kuhn then a few moments ago into turn 10, and bang! Spins Cordeel immediately. That's done quite a bit of damage to Rick Kuhn's car as well. Remember, that car was damaged after contact with Xavier Maassen in the first race today. That's normally Harry King's car being driven by Rick this weekend from the Revs Motorsport machine. I'm not sure. There was contact for Giovanni Scamardi, and it was Tom Bonen who had to take a rickety old ride coming out of the first corner. But Scamardi still getting used to the intricacies of a Carrera Cup car. They are tricky cars to master, and you're certainly not going to get to the bottom of it in your first weekend in these machines.
Yeah, safety car back out on the circuit. Think we saw, did we not, the driver of the number 2 car stalking away from the scene.
There was certainly a driver out of a car, wasn't there? I'm not sure whether that was Guilain.
He's not moved from there, but there was contact coming into the corner.
Yeah. And that's actually what unsettled Scammardi.
Boonen did very well to avoid it, but unfortunately it cost him dear with the rear wheels embedded in the gravel now. So this is not lack drama of the unpleasant sort.
Certainly not. I mean, the earlier race was frantic stuff, but actually it was about almost the game of chess that can often evolve into motorsport, whereby the guy behind is just trying to work out where his car is marginally quicker, whereas this has just gone crazy from the off. It's partly to do with the grid being formed from second fastest qualifying times in yesterday's 35-minute session. That was held in cooler conditions, actually, and Glenn van Parijs was amongst many to have lap times deleted because of the abuse of track limits. So I won't say it gave us a false grid, but it gave us cars slightly out of position according to their normal lap speed. And as everyone has tried to untangle or unwrap themselves a little bit in the opening stages, this unfortunately has been the result.
So terminally bad news for this race, certainly for the number 2 car. And Ghislain Carrera, that effectively derails any hopes of a championship run from him. That's good news for Glenn van Parijs, but there's bad news for Glenn van Parijs as well, which is we're now back on the safety car. Yes. What does that mean? It means the field is backed up again. What does that mean? It means his 5-second penalty is going to cost him more.
It was a 1.2 second gap at racing speeds, and possibly slightly more than that. But as you say, all that the safety car does is closes the gaps between the cars and makes a 5-second penalty far, far worse, because he'll be tumbling back to, well, something like the lower reaches of the top 10. If we were to finish under a safety car, that's very unlikely because we've got 14 minutes left on the clock. They are going to tow Ghislain Cordial's car out of the gravel, but I don't think he's still in there.
No, he is it, because I saw the front wheels steering. He was probably just abandoning car for safety at that point.
Yes.
Cars 9 and 2, by the way, under investigation causing collision. That is the
Rick Kuhn incident, yes, down in towards turn 10, yeah, where he...
Don't you see that one going in one direction?
Exactly, indeed, I would agree with you there. That was a bit of a T-bone with Rick Kuhn, and it's a shame because he's only 18, but having spoken to him again between the two races, he doesn't strike me as that sort of character, not a forceful driver at all, and looking to try and take care of that car, because that's the car that Harry King wants to drive at Hockenheim in a few weeks' time.
So Tom Bowden back underway and will join the back of this train, albeit a lap down. While we're just watching this recovery of the number 2 car, just a moment to talk about the recovery, repair post-race. We saw the race this morning with damage to the number 88 car after tyre failed front left corner, blowing out the front headlamp of the number 88 car Proton competition. And of course Felix Felbermayr, also with some fender damage and some bodywork damage. What I hadn't noticed in the live pictures you saw this morning is the other damage on the car, which is the tyre debris very neatly sliced the rear wing off outboard of the left-hand wing support. It was a straight line. Just goes to show, doesn't it, the damage that tyre debris can do. It's
like a missile, isn't it, at times? And yeah, to be able to slice a rear wing effectively into quarters, just take a big old chunk off with it.
Yep.
And thankfully, Proton do have a few spares on site, so Horst Felix Felbermayr was not fazed by the fact that they'd have to find a few extra bits to that car, and it's great to see him out there again for only his second Carrera Cup race anywhere in the world, the 17-year-old Austrian. Further
workload for race control, cars 24, 48 and 21 under investigation, causing a collision. I suspect that 21 is not really going to be part of that. Indeed. Even if anything, Tom Bowden avoided a collision. This is the one that really started the shenanigans, isn't it? And there was a gap, but I don't think he was going to make that corner.
Well, that's the thing. Even if he'd managed to get underneath Cordial, would he have then been able to turn left? I'm just wondering whether that's done quite a bit of damage to suspension or indeed drivetrain. I think the point of impact was just in front, in fact, of the rear left wheel. So hopefully, from the perspective of that team running Cordial's car, they will be able to get that sorted in time for the next meeting. That is Team GP Elite, but they are only here with one car this weekend, already a race win. It's amazing how motorsport can go for you and then immediately turn against you with a race victory for the first time this season, and sadly now a retirement as the second of the day.
So 11 minutes remain, plus the additional lap. Still under safety car and will be for this lap at least. Maybe one more to allow the recovery vehicles to get to a place of safety. Car under tow now, and does not look as if that number 2 car is going to rejoin.
A chance to talk about the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux talent pool, which for this weekend actually includes 4 drivers. You have to be relatively early on in your career, so Rick Kuhn is actually one of those guys, along with Lucas von Eindhoven, and then the 2 guest drivers, who are a couple that we've already mentioned actually. Horst Felix Felbermayr in the number 88 car, and now already a retirement, Michael Haverens at 19 years old. And it's really a programme to offer support and guidance for those brand new to a Carrera Cup career, thinking about, yes, a season or 2 in Benelux, but then moving forward perhaps to the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland or France or the UK, and then even higher to the Mobil 1 Super Cup. And you get the services, albeit you have to kind of share it amongst others within the talent pool. But Dirk Werner been signed for this season to be a driver coach, and he has access to all of the data from all of the cars on a confidential basis, is my understanding. But he can compare and contrast, you know, one of the guys' laps from the talent pool with the quickest out there, and try and work out a way to go a little quicker, which is a great service from Porsche.
Isn't it just? It just helps the quality coming through, particularly the younger additions to these grids around the world. After some woes getting the number 2 car under tow, that tow is underway. So all this time wasted in racing terms is not helping the push from Glenn van Parijs.
Still the skies continue to threaten.
Darker and darker, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, 2 very well-placed cars are the entries from Team PGZ by Red Ant Racing. Red Ant are their own entity, a team that are well recognised in slightly longer distance running. But to flesh out the Team PGZ element of it, it's actually a combination of 2 Porsche dealerships in the Netherlands, one in the city of Maastricht and one in Eindhoven. And the kind of boss of that is in this race, which is great to have. Luc van der Viesten is the boss of the Team PGZ dealership.
Yep, lights are off on the safety car, and it will be therefore on pit lane at the end of this lap, and we'll be going back to racing with just over 8 minutes left on the clock, plus a lap.
So out they will come. Now, Glenn van Parijs did not go with the accelerator immediately out of the chicane. He does exactly that as well, just waits for a few seconds, and now he will power his way out of the final corner around this 4.6 kilometre or 2.9 mile circuit at Barcelona. Xavier Masson has reacted well and gone with the race leader, and also dueling their way across the line, Lucas von Eindhoven in the dark green car. He has behind him the machine of Rick Kuhn, who's trying to recover. No, in fact, beg pardon, that's Jaume Font, who's the local guy who was a AM class winner earlier on today. He is from Barcelona. Yep. Yeah, top 5 finish overall. So von Eindhoven and Font crossed the line together. There was a mistake there from Glenn van Parijs. Now, Masson wasn't quite close enough to pounce. Meantime, Jan Larissen is under pressure now from the 33, the AM class leader, Sébastien Lajou. I had to check with Lajou in the gap that he wasn't also a Sébastien Lajou who does drag racing. There's a second guy, but they're not the same drivers, is my understanding. Great to have Lajou here, though. Run by, not a French team, but run by Duvo Racing of Luxembourg. More scrapping taking place. That is Van Dierendonk gaining ground in the number 53 car. Yeah, so he's hard at it as well. Yeah,
goes past the 13. It's a drive-through, by the way, for car number 9 for causing a collision. So that is going to be the Revs Motorsport car. That is Rick Kern. Will be losing time and places here. It's a drive-through for that impact. I'm sure that's with the 2. 13 back on 53, so this is going to be another race-long tussle, isn't it?
Well, Jaume Font knows this place intimately. You know, he grew up in Barcelona, so he will have been visiting this place since year dot, pretty much. He's down, I think, to be taking part in the 24 Hours of Barcelona in a couple of weeks' time as well, with Bapora Motorsport and in this car. So Bapora, that's a bit of a departure for them. They normally run TCR cars in the 24, but they'll be going with a Porsche Cup machine. And he rattles his way out over the sausage curb there of the chicane. Jammerfont gaining a position on that lap over Nicolas van Dierendonck in the Q1 Track Racing 53. And now behind Van Dierendonck is Stijn Loetta in the NGT racing car. So teammate to our race leader, Glenn van Parijs. Down in towards turn one again, still nose to tail. Lots more overtaking in this event, though. It just seems to be that they're a bit more rattled, perhaps, at the end of a warm day here in Spain.
Yeah, Rick Kern, by the way, takes that drive through immediately. 5.5 minutes left. And Glenn van Parijs still pushing hard to try to extend his lead. Remember, he's got a 5-second penalty to be added to this race result. And at the moment, he's nowhere near 5 seconds ahead of Xavier Masson.
Stijn Loetta, the 46-year-old from Hasselt, trying to make a nuisance of himself now behind Nicolas van Dierendonck. No way through, though, there at turn 5. So we focus again on the race leader, Glenn van Parijs, really next to nothing back to Xavier Masson for Team PGZ by Red Ant, and Sam de Jonge, Xavier's teammate, tucked in behind as well in the treble 7. This would be a better result for Sam than he got earlier in the day. 4th place overall in race 1 for de Jonge, 3rd right now, but it's certainly not going to be an easy process in the remaining 4 and a bit minutes, as there's more overtaking there into turn 10. That's the 48 of Giovanni Scamardi making a move on Sven van Laren, and he got it done. So Scamardi up a place in AM, now to 5th in the category. Over the curbs goes de Jonge. Sorry, Graham.
That's okay. I'm just saying ahead of those two, and knocking on the door of the top 10 is Felix Felbermeyer. 11th now in the repaired number 88 Proton competition car. This is the treble 7, and the number 54, the battle for the final overall podium position. And it is between the 3rd car in the Pro class and the leading car in Pro-Am. Another spirited battle underway.
Yeah, and Jon Lauriesen already with a race win to his name today. He's won at every single track that the Benelux Championship has visited this year. Took a win at Spa, a couple at Zolder, and also won one of the 2 races at Zandvoort and Assen too. So as the Pro-Am leader, looking to try and make it a double victory on Saturday here at Barcelona. The sky still very, very dark indeed, but no element or no hint of rainfall just yet. 3.5 minutes to go, plus the extra lap. So they'll go across the line once the clock reads 0, and there will be one more tour to go. Nicolas van Dierendonck's been off the road, though, in car 53. Now, he was running in 3rd in the AM category. Another one of the guest drivers. There are 5 of them in the entry today. Van Dierendonck, I'm sure, now has given a spot away to at least Stijn Loetta. He was a long way off the track, Graham. He was indeed.
He's given up 2 or 3 places there. And thought occurs to me here, someone needs to be talking to the 777, the 54. This battle, it's great stuff, but it's going to lose them a position to the car currently leading the race if it carries on like this. They're being dropped by the lead 2. They need to stay within 5 seconds of the lead car.
Yeah, because remember, Glenn van Parijs, after the event, will have 5 extra seconds added to his race time. At the moment, that would still put him behind these 2. But it's getting very lively now for 1st and 2nd as they stream across the line. Xavier Masson, I'm sure, has been given the message, you don't need to overtake Glenn van Parijs, you just need to stay in touch. And Graham Goodwin making the point that the 2 behind need to have that message somehow communicated to them as well, to up the pace, to be within that 5-second envelope at the finish.
Yep, otherwise one of them is not going to finish on the podium.
Yeah. And that shouldn't be an immediate concern to Jon Lauriesen, because he'll still get the Pro-Am points, of course, but it'd be great to stand on an overall podium for the 2nd time today. He'll need to get by Sam de Jonge, though, if that is going to happen.
Under 2 minutes to go, Johnny, and we're on course for a 2nd first-time winner this season.
Indeed.
Here, because with the win this morning from the, unfortunately now out of the race, Ghislain Godel. And Xavier Masson, of course, a race winner in previous seasons, but has not done so in 2022. Could be a first win for the series veteran.
Yep, has been a champion twice before, the Dutchman from Lanaken, and being run by Team PGZ. His best result prior to this, if he does get the win, was a 2nd place in the 2nd race at Zolder earlier in the season. So came here at the start of the weekend in the points reckoning, 5th position with his number 28 car on 75 points. That changed, of course, after the first race of the weekend, but he's not really playing with the guys that are punching for the overall championship. Managed to get 6 points from the first race of the day.
Into the final minutes of the elapsed time, 30 minutes, but it's going to be the end of this lap, one more, and then one more again, with the lead car crossing the line with just over 30 seconds to go. So this is the penultimate lap being started now by the 3rd place battle on the road, and they cross the line, both of them over 5 seconds off the leader.
Oh, right, okay. Well, they're more concerned with maybe the places switching around. Bigger gap this time between Glenn van Parijs and second place Masson. It's almost up to a second. That's still not, though, doing the 27-year-old Belgian any favours. He needs that to extend yet further to a full 5 seconds, ideally. And Masson, the wily old fox, will not allow that to happen, I'm sure. Jan Lauriesen to the inside line at turn 4. Looking for a way by Sam de Jonge, but can't happen there. And actually a good exit out of the tricky right-hander downhill towards turn 5, which can be an overtaking opportunity, but de Jonge covers it off.
So time has elapsed. It'll be the end of this lap, plus the additional lap from the 30 minutes time race. You tend to wonder what will be the emotions here for Glenn van Parijs. He came here 50 points off Harry King, 54 points up for grabs, so the potential to go to Hockenheim in the championship lead. He's not done that.
Yeah.
He didn't win the race this morning. He's not at this stage looking like he's going to win this race either, because of that penalty for contact. It's going to be something like 10 points off Harry King, and that puts the pressure on him to have to go out there and beat Harry King on the track in both races.
Getting glimpses in the background of the 2 green cars, the first of which is being driven by Sébastien Lajoux, on course for a victory in the AM category. Lajoux has won his division before. As we now start the final lap, Glenn van Parijs, leader on the road, but he will be relegated certainly off the top step of the podium if that 1 second, 1 and a bit seconds gap stays as it is, back to Xavier Marson, and the black 28 car will be a winner for the first time. But yes, go to the point of Sébastien Lajoux in the AM category. 3 wins so far, 1 at Spa, 1 at Zandvoort, 1 at Zolder, and he will back that up by the looks of things with a 5th place overall for the Frenchman with Duvo Racing here in Spain.
The second consecutive race here where the AM leading car, or the AM winning car, had finished in the top 5. Excellent stuff. It's been a somewhat more physical encounter this past half hour, Johnny. And still some of those positions up for grabs by the look of things.
Didier Glorieux on the tail of the Giovanni Scamardi car, the Duvo Racing. Very smart paint job there. The black with the orange and white detailing. And Scamardi at the moment running 4th in AM is managing to fend off the 2nd place guy in Pro-Am, Didier Glorieux, who's always lovely to chat to. Caught up with him briefly in between races. The brother of Jean Glorieux, a former champion in the Michelin Le Mans Cup. Race leaders back at turn 10. It is closer, though, for 3rd position on the road. This will be 2nd. Well, they need to push on for it to be 2nd once the penalty is issued, and I think they've left it too late.
It's too late, and it's even the position here under threat.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make this 2nd and 3rd. It's going to be 3rd and 4th. They're almost 7 seconds behind the race leader, who's coming down now into turn 15.
So this to decide the 3rd step of the podium, effectively, once Van Parijs is moved back to 2nd, and Jan Lauriesen trying to find a way by. It'll be Glenn van Parijs on the road, but look back to the 2nd place car, which should inherit the race win. Xavier Marson, the double champion, flashing the lights there, very close to the pit wall. And this the fight for the 3rd step of the podium, because both cars finished 7 seconds, nearly 8 seconds back from the eventual race leader Glenn van Parijs. So essentially the top 2 will be switched around by Alcamel, our timing and scoring service provider, in a moment or 2. 2 seconds the gap between van Parijs and Marson, but an in-race penalty of 5 seconds given to van Parijs because of contact. Sam de Jonge finishing ahead of Jan Lauriesen, who wins Pro-Am, and Sébastien Lajoux means that all 3 classes are represented in the overall top 5. Lajoux with the AM victory.
Excellent stuff. And a fighting response to the penalty levied by our race winner. That will help his challenge for the overall title. 2 races now to go. But he, I'm sure, Johnny, will come away from Barcelona feeling as if he's dropped points here rather than winning points.
Yeah, it's been a tricky weekend, and obviously he will have had a focus in his mind, which would have been his ideal. Obviously scooping up all of the points, the 54 on offer would be in a perfect situation, but it doesn't always pan out like that. Glenn van Parijs, yes, a missed opportunity. In the first race, he was explaining to me that for the first grid of the day, he felt like he was just slightly out of position. He'd gone in front of his box, so he needed to then reverse back into it, and that just got him out of his rhythm. He then didn't get the car off the line as well as Guilain Cordial alongside. And in this one, I mean, it was almost just a bit of getting tangled up with fellow car Cordial in this part of the circuit, coming out of 10 and into 11. But that has been looked back upon by the clerk of the course, and Glenn van Parijs judged to be at fault there. Here it is, in fact, right on cue. So they're coming out of 10 into 11, and van Parijs, he caught the dirt.
It wasn't there, it's here. There.
Yeah, and there was, initially caught the slide, which was caused because he rode the curb and caught the dirt, but then he rode into the side of Guilain Cordial. That was judged to be unfair, and therefore the 15 car was given a 5-second delay, and that has put him behind Xavier Maassen, who wins for the first time.
Indeed, so that means 4 different winners this season for the overall championship. Harry King, with all bar one of the races he has started, the one that he didn't win went to Glenn van Parijs. This morning's race going to Guilain Cordial, who sadly did not finish this race after not that contact, but a further contact. And now Xavier Maassen looks set to be confirmed as the winner of this race once timing and scoring reflects the penalty we've been shown. 5 seconds to be added to the time. In fact, it corrects as I'm speaking. So he will take that win by just under 3 seconds, Xavier Maassen. So he becomes the 4th winner in 2022. Their early overall results, Johnny?
Yeah, 16 laps done. Xavier Maassen with the first win of the year from Glenn van Parijs, doctor position, given an extra 5 seconds. Sander Jonge finishes 3rd on the road. Jan Laurissen, winner in the Pro-Am category, but 4th overall, a great effort. And Sébastien Lajeux will extend his championship leadership in the Am division. Then it was Lucas van Eindhoven, the 20-year-old from Eindhoven in the Netherlands, finishing in 6th, ahead of Jean Mafont, the local guy from Barcelona for Bapora Motorsport. Stijn Loetta, 8th and 3rd in Am, ahead of Giovanni Scamardi, thoroughly enjoying his weekend with Porsches. He finishes 4th and in 4th in Am, that is, and 9th overall. And to complete the top 10, Didier Gloria for Speed Lover, 2nd position in the Pro-Am part of the field. Glenn van Parijs in the foreground here, just having a chat with his team, and unfortunately being given the bad news that yes, you crossed the line as the lead car, but you've been put back to 2nd position, almost to the tune of 3 seconds. Glenn still smiling, which is good. He's putting a brave face on the situation. We'll be getting great support from NGT Racing as well.
Xavier Maassen.
Indeed, yeah.
I know reasonably well from a number of encounters in the Le Mans series back in the day and at Le Mans. I wouldn't say regular, but an irregular, if you like, at the Le Mans 24 Hours, and long been a firm part of the sports car, the GT racing scene. And he's now giving the message to this one. Yep, indeed he has.
Yeah, so confirmation for the Dutchman that he will take his first win of the season. But yeah, when you go back to the early days of his career, Formula Ford, Benelux, Formula Ford, Netherlands, and then on into Formula Renault. But he spent a couple of seasons in the FIA GT Championship as well. Some Bell car racing in the early 2010s. Very, very happy with that, but you can tell how hard he's been pushed throughout it. He's blowing pretty strongly there, Xavier Maassen, on what is a warm day here in Catalunya on the Circuit de Barcelona. Once he's had another few bottles of water and, of course, some champagne on the top step of the podium, he will feel a lot better about the situation. And Maassen, having been given a 30-second penalty because of unnecessary contact in the first race today, actually benefiting now from somebody else's penalty to give him the race win. It's amazing how these things can just switch around in the space of a few hours. So Maassen, Van Parijs, De Jonge, the pro podium, which we will look forward to in a moment or two. But some highlights from the 30 minutes. Yellow flags I noticed waving midfield there. Thankfully no cars collected, but early on Haverens had his moment. Then this was the real keystone event of the race between Van Parijs and Cordeal, catching one another, and Van Parijs judged to be at fault. Rick Kuhn, an ambitious and ultimately unsuccessful manoeuvre into turn 10. This was a spin for Giovanni Scamadi as well, and that was the contact, Rick Kuhn on Cordeal from the other angle. It caused the safety car, that bunched the field up. We also briefly had a full course yellow as well, and Clem Van Parijs was not then given the opportunity to scamper away into the distance. In the end, the winning margin on the road was only 2 seconds. He needed it to be 5+. So Xavier Maassen benefiting from that and given the race win after Clem Van Parijs soaked up the extra 5 seconds. Still, Xavier Maassen's car bearing the scars from the contact from race 1 on that front right corner. And back to the podium we will go for race 10 of the season. This the 5th meeting of the season. And some very interesting results from our little trip to Spain in support of the European Le Mans Series. The first time that the Benelux Championship has done that since the Red Bull Ring in 2021. And it's great to have the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux back again. Vacancy really provided because in Spain there is no Michelin Le Mans Cup and no Ligier European Series this weekend. So instead, great to have some Porsche action. And certainly the fans will have thoroughly enjoyed that. As mentioned, Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux going from strength to strength. When you look at the numbers regularly on the grid compared to last year, there's been a big step forward. And Olivier Atz of the championship confident that we might even reach 25, 26 cars regularly in season 2023, with drivers from a number of European countries outside of the obvious, so outside of Belgium, the Netherlands and Luxembourg, looking to places like here in Spain, places like France perhaps, and also the UK to draw on future talent. And a chance to experience some Grade 1 circuits, certainly some current Grand Prix venues, as this is, to then put the drivers in good stead for the step up to Mobil 1 Super Cup or indeed to the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. Still waiting for the drivers to head onto the podium. There is a pressing session for the European Le Mans Series due to start imminently, so we'll hope to get some drivers onto the podium. But if we have to close the stream before then, you can understand the reasons why. Graham Goodwin and me, Johnny Palmer, staying on for European Le Mans Series duty in a moment or two. Champagne bottles are still being prepared. But Graham, it's been a great visit to Spain for the Benelux Championship as closing remarks.
Real drama in that second race, really great pace and good attacking and defensive driving in race 1. The drama saved rather more for race 2. I think most of them will have enjoyed that. I certainly did, and can't wait to see what happens in Hockenheim.
Make sure you log on to the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux official website, to the Twitter feed as well, for all of the photographs from the podium and the comments from the race as well. There'll be plenty of them. And join us next time in the Benelux Championship at Hockenheim in a few weeks' time. Bye-bye for now.